So far we learned about apply to each loop. It was easy to work with. The only thing is that it navigates through every single item in an array. That's what it is made for. On the other side, we have a different type of loop, which is called do until. In Power Automate, when you want to do something for a certain number of times, or you want to keep on doing something until some certain results is there, like for example, there is a service you want to keep on calling until you get the result, that's a situation that you use do until. Think about it this way. For example, you want to check the mail delivery status, and there is a service that you can call from Power Automate. In this case, you know it's going to be served between this time and this time, so you may want to run a do until and keep on calling until you get a certain result. Things like that can be done with this loop, and they are very easy to do. Now, let's go to Power Automate and see how this guy works. Just like before, flow.microsoft.com, I click on Create, and I create, again, the simplest flow possible. Manually trigger a flow, and I want to call it Loop Demo 2. And I click on Create. So it's a button flow that when I push the button, the flow starts, just like before. Now imagine I want to create a flow that when I push a button, it sends 10 emails to one person, to one email address. As much as it may sound a very silly example, but let's keep it at this level as the easiest way that we can present do until. So let's look up do until. I add it to my flow. Forget about choose values and all those things at the moment. I add an action here, which is going to be send email, and I pick up send an email v2. I send it to myself, doesn't matter. Subject is going to be test loop, and I would say this is email number whatever from Power Automate. Great. So I still owe this email a number. So email number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually, I really don't need to add it to the email, but do until really needs a counter. So basically, do until, if I don't put any condition here, it just runs once and that's over. But if I want to have this to continue running, I need to put a value here and then compare it to something else. And every time that it runs, I need to add 1 to this value. So actually I have a counter. So basically do until does not have a built-in counter. You may have seen this change limits. It says count, but that's a different thing. This count that you see here is not your counter. Good. So we need to add a counter. So we just get out of this do until, and I want to add an action. And this time I want to add a variable. Initialize variable. I want to call it my counter. Type is going to be integer, of course. Value, I started with 0 because at the moment I haven't sent any email. So counter starts with 0. I send 1 email and I add 1 to the counter. And to do that, I'm using increment variable. You remember this? So here I pick my counter in the increment variable, and I add 1 to it. So see the logic. As I told you, if there is no condition, it just goes through. So basically, in the beginning, the initialize variable has set the my counter to 0. So counter is 0. Do until first run doesn't care. So it just gets inside and sends 1 email. We add 1 to the counter, and it goes to the top of the list and checks the condition again. So let's start by adding the counter here, and we say do until. Please do whatever you are supposed to do until my counter is equal to 10. Now, if I come here, usually this one is a little bit disappointing because you click on it and it doesn't let you do anything after you add your variable here. The trick is very simple. Right after you add your variable here, just click on Edit Advanced Mode and then click on Edit in Basic Mode again. Everything is enabled. Probably it's a bug, glitch, or whatever you want to call it. Now you can pick the condition. It's equal to 10. So basically, it keeps on sending email until the counter reaches 10. So until this condition is true. So as soon as this condition is true, it will continue with the next step out of this loop that we don't have anything here. So basically, when it sends 10 emails, workflow ends. Let's give it a shot and see what it does. Let me save it. We forgot one more thing. Inside my email, this is email number, and I add the counter here. If you don't find the counter, don't worry. As I told you, this email expects a string. My counter is a number. So if you don't find it, don't worry. Put the mouse cursor where it's supposed to be. Come back here and search for my counter. Although it doesn't display it on the plain list, when you search for it, it will find it. So click on it. I have the counter here. Now the thing is that for this one, counter starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally, after the 10th email, it counts 10 and then checks the condition. So the emails in your mailbox are expected to be from 0 because we started from 0 to 9. Let's see. Save. Test. I'll perform the trigger action. Test. And this is the first run. Run flow. Done. There we go. So do until is done with the job. Let's get back to the mailbox and see what we got. Great. Okay. Number 0, 1, 2, 3, and we go till number 9. Of course, we may want to have the proper count from 1 to 10. So in this case, it's very simple again. Let me just delete all of them. And we get back to the Power Automate. I can click on Edit, and this time I can just drag and drop this mail and add it right after increment variable. So in this case, it adds the counter first, then it sends the email. Let's test it again. Save and test. Run flow. Done. Okay. Let's go back to the mailbox now. Starting from 1, 2, and it keeps on going till number 10. Great. So far it was very easy. You just have a counter and then check the condition. Not necessarily you need to check the condition as a counter. It happens quite often that you want to keep on making a call to a service or something like that, and then you can validate the call. You really don't want to make 500 calls in a row to anything, to an external service or something else. External services, they block you immediately, just like a denial of service attack. So in this case, maybe you want to make delays between the calls. So in that case, just add another action called delay. We can actually delay it, delay the execution right at this step. And I would say 1 minute. So in that case, it sends one email, waits for 1 minute, sends another email, waits for another minute. You test it for yourself and see how it works. Now, here is the part that I want to look into, the limits. So limits is the very interesting part. At the moment, by default, the number of the iterations that this loop goes through can max out to 60. So instead of 10, if I want to put like 100, at 60, it stops because it says, hold on a second, why is it going that far? Maybe that's an infinite loop. Why shall I keep on doing it and utilize the server resources for something that it's not intended to work. So be very careful. So if you have any condition, not just a counter, if you have any condition that it may take so many times for the flow to run, you should increase the count here. Otherwise, flow by default stops it when the count reaches 60. Delay has the same thing. You have a timeout. So the timeout of 1 hour is predefined. So if the overall execution of this do until loop takes more than 1 hour, basically it will stop and does not continue after that, does not keep on repeating the things. So these are the two things. I can hardly imagine you have a do until that the timeout goes more than 1 hour, but count of more than 60 can happen quite often. So you may look into that. Just keep it in mind that no matter what condition you put, do until does not go beyond these limits. So 1 minute, let me just go to the mailbox and delete those things. Delete again, and I go back to the flow, save, and run it again. Test, test, run flow, done. Okay. Now if I go to my mailbox, you get one email only. Now we need to wait for another minute to see the second one. I just stop recording, and after 5 minutes, I will show you the result. And this is what you expect to see after 5 minutes. So you see every email is sent after exactly 1 minute, and here is the result. And this is how we wrap up do until control, and time to go to scope and error handling.